Let's take a look at part three of your final project drafts. Again, overall, I think everybody that submitted did a great job. Um, some some minor tweaks for those of you that are new to this. I'm impressed. Let's go ahead and get into it. So, starting off strong. I really like what you did here with a lot of your elements. I like how you have the sort of tree branch going from left to right and the top two-thirds. I think it works really well. I like the sort of graphics that you have. I think it's a little product heavy. Um, what I might do, I like, again, I would leave the sort of tree branch, maybe even take the products off of it, to be honest. And then I would center this. It could just be because of the tree branch, but it looks like it's a little bit off to the right. So I might center this green um, uh, square. Holy cow! I might center this green square in your space there, um, and honestly, kind of take the products off of it. I think it's kind of distracting. You have a lot of products going on. And then I like plant to formula. Um, I would, if you're going to keep this line in there, like literally the line, I might move it down a little bit just so it's not um, overlapping on your text there. Or if you do want to have it sort of overlap, I would have it that same color green, and I might have it go all the way off the edge. Have it go to the bleed, so it goes all the way off the page. And then going down to the bottom here, I might um, make the this product grouping. I think it's a good grouping. Make this product grouping a little bit bigger. Make your logo a little bit smaller, and then you could have your tagline, um, the live a more natural lifestyle. I paused there because I was thinking we need to target this towards men. So don't forget this is a men's skincare or whatever, beauty, whatever you would call it, product line. So to maybe work in, um, you don't want to be too on the nose and just say like for men, but work in, something in the text there about, whatever. I have a whole lot of ideas. Um, have I don't know, um, help him live or more, something like that. You know what I mean? Sit with it for a little bit, but to try to work, men in there. Maybe even have this sort of reflected, so you have your, this line going off to the right, and then have another line going off to the left, and then you could have your tagline there. But again, I think maybe making this product grouping a little bit larger. You can make this logo a little bit smaller, sort of kind of swap the visual balance of these, and then kind of have your tagline be on one line. Um, Again, I really like what you have going on here. Again, I think it's a little bit product heavy. If you were going to include all of these products, then I would get rid of the products at the bottom. And then that might free up some more space. Again, if you made the Origins logo smaller here, that might free up some space for a tagline, maybe even another graphic box, etc. But I think it's just a little bit product heavy, with all of the product like at the top and then at the bottom as well. But yeah, overall, I think you have some really great elements to work with for this piece. All right, Katrina. There we go. Another good start. It's hard to tell where you have your bleed and trim and all that stuff without seeing the AI file, but we can look at that at class. Um, I think overall, like your image here sort of speaks to the men's um, skincare. I think the products could be a little bit smaller. I wouldn't overlap the logo with the product. Um, I was gonna say unless, but then I couldn't think of the unless. So I might make your products a little bit smaller. The only other thing that you would really need in here is your headline. or taglines. What I might do is either have your Origins logo in like the top left or top right, depending. You might even be able to make this overall image a little bit smaller, and then you could have, you know, your tagline. It's not really a headline if it's not at the top, but you get the idea. You know, maybe make these product shots slightly smaller, give them a little bit more room to breathe from each other. But yeah, again, moving this logo to the top left, as I say left, I'm pointing right, right or left, or even make him smaller and have a headline up at the top. But I like the idea of having this space here for your sort of tagline, and again, moving the logo up, maybe making these a little bit smaller, and spacing them out a little bit. But yeah, um, some sort of line relating to men's grooming products. But I think overall, a really strong image and a strong idea. All right, Mikayla, we'll look at the PDF. Right. This, I really like the color palette you have. I like your concept. Again, I think a little bit product heavy. What I might do is actually, if you can, open this up so that you know it's really almost like the whole middle bottom, if you can, of this. I like your idea, healthy for your man and the environment. You could potentially make this a little bit smaller, maybe go with a different font, a little bit bolder font. Um, Potentially make that a little bit smaller. But I like sort of the idea that you have like this, you know, the sort of balance between, you know, a fairly stark background with products and this image. But I would push that. I would push that more. Maybe not quite half and half, but if it was, you know, a good, you know, relatively bottom two-thirds, depending on how big this image is or how big you can make it. Um, but I like, you know, the idea of having it, you know, effectively go to here-ish, and we can play with this in class, but you could have healthy for your man, and then have like end the environment at the bottom, and then have a couple of product shots. Again, I think it's a bit product heavy, even if you had like a grouping of like four and arranged them a little bit, or depending on where you had how it fit in the circle, you know, you could have a product grouping here, and then have like your sort of circle-ish graphic, and then have end for the environment. But I like the idea of sort of splitting that up, giving it sort of a visual pause, healthy for your man and the environment. But yeah, I think making this, most importantly, making that image bigger within your file, and then sort of curating this, curating the products, again, a little bit product heavy, a little bit visually confusing. But yeah, I think overall you have a really, really strong start for your piece. Samuels, let's go to your JPEG. And with a holiday theme. Okay, it's going to pixelate a little bit as I zoom. Yeah, I think overall, I think, you know, some sort of minor tweaking here. I would, you know, sort of give all of this a little bit of room to breathe ish. I would move this product grouping down a bit. Even take the Origins logo and putting it in the bottom left, so that this isn't so cluttered. So you could have like this holiday season, even have these about the same size. It might be the same size, but it looks like this bottom part is a little bit bigger. And I'm not sure that you need the ellipses again. So you could have like this holiday season, you could have give him the gift of Origins, something like that. So again, it's a men's target audience that we're looking for. But I might move this product grouping down a little bit. And then you could have your Origins logo here to sort of give this a little bit of room. And then maybe have, you know, this element down here, or even, you know, have one here, logo, and then another ornament down here. But yeah, I think it's really kind of more bringing this down a little bit, letting this area sort of breathe. Because again, you have this is sort of tightly spaced, and then this is really loosely spaced, and then that's really loosely spaced. Even if you had the Origins logo here and had Give the Gifts of Origins down at the bottom, and then had your logo, and then sort of brought this down a little bit. But a couple different options. Sometimes the hardest part with having something that's a little bit stark like this, and a lot of negative space is sort of working with that negative space to sort of visually even it out. But I think, again, with some minor adjustments, this could be really good. All right, Haley. This one, I like the messaging that we have here. It's a little bit stark. We don't necessarily need, some obvious um, imagery, um, but I think it's a little bit maybe too stark or too clean. I don't know if you had other plans aside from this, but I like the idea of targeting sort of um, the shaving kind of element here. I might separate these then a little bit if you're going to have them be that large, so that you can see. I like the overlaps so that you can see what each one is, um, and maybe have it to the left, and then you could have your Origins logo here, um, and you could have like keep that beard looking fresh here, and then have your Origins logo in here somewhere. Um, yeah, I'm not quite sure. Definitely, this is going to take some moving things around. But yeah, I would, again, sort of not separate. I like the overlap, but give this one in particular a little bit more, space. I might make these two a little bit smaller, um, and if you space them out a little bit more, it would sort of it would even out visually. And even if you had these not quite dead center, but move these up a little bit, and then you could have your, I would say, looking fresh. I know looking, yeah, I see what you're doing, but I would have, keep that beard looking fresh. Um, you can kind of separate that and then give yourself either room for the logo here or room for the logo at the bottom. Um, yeah, I think moving this sort of grouping again, not dead center, but moving it up a little bit more. But I think just some rearranging, and then I'm not sure if you have other visual plans for it for other background images and things like that. But that's we could talk about in class. But as far as a draft, I think this is well done. Just some moving things around and arranging again with this one. Carter. All right. I think this is a really strong visual start. I like the graphic background, sort of simple vector art looking background. Again, we need to make sure that we're focusing on men's, I always want to say healthcare, men's self-care products, I guess. Um, so again, sort of some more direct reference um, to products for men, and maybe featuring a product. Because as far as obviously we know because we're working on it. But if you showed this to somebody who had no idea what Origins was, this doesn't really tell you that. Like this could be an outdoor company like Elovine, given the nature of this. So we need some sort of reference to the products or a product or set of products, and we need some sort of reference to that it's specifically for men, men's grooming products. But I think visually, the background looks really good. I think where the logo is works really well. Um, go all natural with Origins. You'll might need some other kind of tagline or something in there for men, instead of just putting for men. But to make sure that we're hitting that target audience and some sort of product to make sure that we know what we're selling. But as far as like the graphic and the sort of start to set it up, you have an excellent start and a great base to work with. All right, Ryan. There we go. All right. Again, I like your image. I might move this down a little bit just to get it sort of like more kind of in the palm of these hands. Move if this is a separate image. I don't know if this is separate from the earth there, but if we move that down a little bit, if not, no big deal. But what I might do is have this sort of more be a headline, so you have changing the world's perspective at the top, changing the world's perspective. Sorry, I paused there because I was trying to think of it. Changing the world's perspective on men's skincare since 1990. Yeah, I would have like changing the world's perspective, and then have like on another line, um, on men's skincare since 1990, like here, give or take. So you have top line here, give or take, bottom line here, give or take, and then you can make your logo a little bit bigger. And then honestly, maybe make these a little bit smaller or push these to the left a little bit just to give this a little bit more space. So if we went left and then made these a tiny bit smaller, and then you can make your Origins logo a bit bigger. But basically, if you had like line here, move your picture down a little bit, I think this could work really well. All right. Brody, there we go. All right. Again, another really strong start. I like the concept. I think just again some minor tweaking. I might move some of these snowflakes away from like this one's not too bad. This one isn't too bad either. Maybe move it to the right a little bit, but I think where like this one overlaps, it's a little bit awkward. So maybe move it up a little bit, kind of like this one is. These I think are fine. Maybe move that down just a little bit. Or see if you need it. This one, tweaking some of where these snowflakes are is going to just sort of be trial and error. But as far as the overall concept, I really like the sort of naughty nice thing you have going on. I like the choice thing. I'm trying to think of how can we put that, like this holiday season, give him the choice, maybe something like that, whether he wants to be naughty or nice. Sorry, I didn't mean to be such a dork about that. But I like that sort of messaging. I feel like that's kind of where you're going with that. Um, you're letting him choose naughty or nice, whoever you is. Um, but yeah, I think this holiday season, make it his choice or give him the choice or something like that. You know what I mean? Make it a little bit more concise with the headline. Headlines are tricky. I'm usually pretty terrible at coming up with them completely on my own. I'm really good at editing them. I'm not so good at coming up with it, but I like the concept. As far as the visual, I think it's great. I think really the whole thing, but really from the naughty nice down, I think it's great. I don't think you really need to tweak any of this, except for maybe some of the snowflakes at the top. You could potentially, if you got rid of this one, made your Origins logo a little bit bigger. You might need to move one or both of these snowflakes, but I think moving the Origins logo down a little bit, making it slightly bigger, you might move the naughty and nice down just a touch. But yeah, I think this is super strong. I think working on that headline and some tweaking to finish this one off would be great. All right, box. Okay. So this one, again, I really like the idea and the messaging. Rooted in nature, crafted for men. Great headline. I'm really into like splitting headlines, obviously, as you can see. But I think here we have a little bit of an issue with like these sort of like the product images are just kind of floating. So what I might do is I might do like rooted in nature and have either Origins logo here or Origins logo somewhere in the top, maybe top right-ish. And then you could have like crafted for men down at the bottom, and then have like one or two products, even if you wanted to have, I forget off the top of my head what this one is, but the lotiony one here, and then have like the Blade Runner or whatever here. So you had like two products here, um, and then you had crafted for men, and then Origins logo up here. I might choose a different font as well. You don't want to do something like too playful and goofy, but I think that since you have this very like strong nature image, sort of, I don't know, whatever, typically rugged, outdoorsy kind of image, I think you have this sort of more mechanical looking text. Like I don't think you need papyrus or anything like that. But I think just something a little bit more, it's something a little bit softer, if that makes sense. You have this sort of very sort of kind of mechanical, um, font choice. But again, I think rooted in nature, um, crafted for men at the bottom, and we could even potentially do, a drop shadow or something where if you had um, black text with a green background, or vice versa, green text with a black background, or something like that. But I think moving one or two of these products down, basically swapping where Origin's logo and products are, and then sort of splitting that headline and tagline to work more visually around the image, I think could work really well. All right, Keilani. There we go. Again, I really like the concept of this. We want to make sure. I don't know if you went for a perspective thing here, but it kind of looks like you did. But we don't want to squish the logo. You want to make sure that you're constraining those proportions. Um, as far as this one, I would kind of do that same sort of swap. I like this grouping that you have. Again, make sure that you're constraining proportions. These look a little bit distorted, these two specifically. What I might do is swap these two because you kind of have like it's kind of awkward to have products sort of floating. Whereas if you had a logo, it's a little bit less kind of floating because it's not necessarily like a physical object, if that makes sense. Um, so I might have like your products down at the bottom, one or two maybe, or all three if you want to have that grouping. I might swap these two so you have the taller bottle here, shorter bottle of soap in here, have your Origins logo here. And then I think you don't need the for men. I feel like the golfing picture sort of speaks to that. You might even make it bigger. If it distorts a little bit, like pixelates a little bit, that's fine. For the purposes of this assignment, it's fine. But I might make this a little bit bigger just so you can really see. So really more instead of 2/3 sky, you sort of have 2/3 golf course. Even if you just move it up, and then that might give you a little bit more room to have products either here or here. And then what I would do is open up. You could have. I like the concept. Again, get rid of the for men. It's a little on the nose. But if you had something more relating to golf, like something like even if you just had from clubhouse to penthouse, or for the clubhouse or the penthouse, something like that. Um, Either on one line or keep it on two lines, depending on how things arrange when you have them. Um, again, just sort of more relating to your golfing image. I'm pretty sure it's clubhouse. I know it's clubhouse. I know it's a clubhouse. As my heater, sorry. I know it's a clubhouse in baseball. I'm pretty sure it's where like the locker room ish is, what they call. Um, yeah. Um, or you could have like from the clubhouse to the penthouse, or something like that. But yeah, I think the image sort of reflects that it's for men already, so I don't think you necessarily need that. But I think those tweaks, um, could lead to a really strong piece. And then again, last but not least, Veronica, if I can, there we go. This is a really strong image. I like what you've done with the text here. I might go a little bit lighter on the stroke with the black stroke, or make that drop shadow with the sort of yellowish a little bit larger. But I would let's see. I had a whole bunch of thoughts going, so that's why I had to pause. So let's start with the top. So the image, I don't think I would change at all. I don't think I would resize or anything, but I would have who says men shouldn't take care of their skin. I would make that a little bit larger. I don't think you would want it like dead center, or even if you have it to the right-ish, if you had it go essentially from here to here, but move it up a little bit and make this a little bit larger. Um, I would try it to the left just to see. You could even flip the image if that doesn't quite work. If you wanted to have it, I feel like it's a little bit awkward to start reading top right without something else visual here. But yeah, I would move that up at least. Maybe try it to the left, try it to the right, a little bit bigger. But yeah, I like that. Who says men shouldn't take care of the skin? Nobody. Take care of your body with Origins. Yeah, I would. Yeah, I don't mind that. I would make that a little bit smaller. sorry, I was thinking about rearranging or editing this text, and I don't think you really need to. So what I might do is actually make this line a little bit smaller so that you have this more sort of rectangular shape here. And then you could have the Origins logo a little bit smaller here. Maybe even drop this down slightly. Um, but yeah, so if you had your Origins logo kind of in this area here, oops, and then bring this graphic down slightly. You might even, depending on how big your image is, you might even be able to bring the whole image, like this entire thing down slightly, and then that would open up more space at the top for your headline. Um, yeah, but yeah, I think those sort of, again, trial and error, see if it works. But yeah, I think those possible tweaks could make this even stronger. But yeah, I think it's a great start, great image, good concept. Again, some arranging, I think, and I think you'll be great. I think overall, everybody did a great job with these. I like what I saw. I think with some minor revisions, I think you guys all are on a great track to have some really strong finished products for these.